We are back at Ferncrest for a second season. Come along with me to see what it looks like before the rush of the crowd comes in for the summer. When you first enter Ferncrest, you're welcomed by this beautiful open space. This is where anybody, campground guests and the public, can come to use a bonfire, picnic tables. We're also thinking about putting a pavilion in here where we can have events and things like yoga or weddings, all fun stuff out here in the open area. The entranceway to Ferncrest is particularly exciting and enticing. We designed it to take you from the road into a magical forest. So right through here is the entrance to the actual campground. And the first thing, which doesn't seem like an exciting thing, but to me it's a pretty big deal, is the parking lot. And that's because one of my pet peeves in camping is when I go to a campground and all I see is cars. So what we have here is we have a dedicated area that we put in where you park before you go into the campground. So then it creates a really family-friendly atmosphere where it's safe for kids, but it's also really peaceful and a lot less noise than what you would have if it was a car-based camping ground. One of the things about the campground that we did is we tried to save as much of the old as possible. So this bathhouse is originally from the 1960s. We gave it a little bit of a facelift. We put on a new coat of paint. More importantly, we put in a new septic tank behind it. When you come camping here, you're not gonna have any problems with flushing toilets. The inside of the bathhouse is still meant to be campy, which means that it's not a modern bathroom experience. It feels like you're at a campground, but it has some luxury touches, such as this cement sink with this industrial brass faucet. We also put on things like luxe handles on the bathroom stalls, which again, might seem like a little bit of overkill at a campground, but to us, because this is a Glampground, it's really important that we have those minor touches that really elevates the experience. Also right at the entrance is our welcome bulletin. This is a new feature of Ferncrest, which really evokes all of those great campground feels that you find at state or national campgrounds. And it's where you can get information about the campground, but also the surrounding areas. There are 50 miles of hiking trails, all within 5 minutes drive of Ferncrest, which makes it a really great destination for people that are coming to not only camp, but also go out and hike and have fun in the woods. These are the carts that we provide to guests that can use to take their luggage from the parking lot into the campground. This is really important because yes, we are asking people to park here and not drive up to their campground. But when they have something like this to do, it's those small activities, those things that break free from your everyday routine that actually can become sort of fun and exciting. So I've seen a lot of people get really excited about these carts when they check in, even though it's work. It's like different types of work that makes people excited. The other thing that makes people really excited is our camp store. This is another one of those old cabins that we saved from the previous campground. We gave it a full facelift, painted it this really nostalgic brown campground color. And then we made it a self-service, self-checkout honor system store, which provides a lot of goodies for your camping experience. Only guests can get in by their code that they're provided for their tents. It's open till midnight and it provides a plethora of things for people to not only buy and do, like frisbees and lawn games, but it also has drinks and ice cream and local maple syrups and other local things like locally roasted coffee. It has artisan pretzels. It also has a lot of really cool gear that we're producing about Ferncrest and about Promised Land. So one of the things about a camp store that we've seen work really well is people are looking to go home with something. Yes, they might want to buy a drink or they might want to buy marshmallows to make s'mores, but what they really want is they want memories. And that's why they're here. And that's what we provide with things like hats and t-shirts and many more things that are going to come into the store over the next couple months. You can also get essentials that you might have forgotten at home. You might have salt and pepper, you might need a match, you might need fire starter. The biggest seller though is firewood and ice. Those are the two things that definitely make this camp store churn. And the good thing about it is everybody has to come in to this iPad, the self-checkout register. So when they're buying firewood, which is located outside, they come in here to ring it up. And then they can also look at all the other things and maybe buy something as well. So the checkout process is really easy. It's cash-free, credit card only. Also accepts things like Apple Pay, so you can use your phone to pay. And the beautiful thing about this is that there's no staff needed, which is a great economical incentive for both parties because for them, it's a really easy process to come whenever they want. And for us, it's the honor system. So, we are not really that concerned about things like theft because people are here to have a good time and they're here paying good money to stay at Ferncrest. And so we trust people and everybody's adults and we think that people deserve our trust. One thing that I really love about Ferncrest is the renovated RV trailers that we have right here. We have 3 renovated RV trailers on the property. These 2 are what serve coffee and ice cream. So this is where you can go to get a latte on the weekends. It's open on the weekends when the crowds are busier. So it's going to start in Memorial Day and on Labor Day. But we have a full espresso machine in there. We have bagels for sale. These are full food businesses that are operational in a really amazing way. When you wake up, you can go out and get whatever you want. And then ice cream is this little guy here. It almost looks like a little sprinkle, and that's where you can go get a fresh scoop of ice cream. And that's going to be open on the weekends as well. So this is called the food trailer area, and that's right next to the camp store. So all sort of centrally located in the campground. It doesn't seem like a lot, but we did a lot of work to this entranceway over the last few weeks. We manicured things and laid out these stones to make for a much more pleasant experience. We also put in landscape lighting, wired landscape lighting. So at nighttime, it almost feels like a resort in here because you have these lights that are sort of illuminating and glowing on the pathway here. Right over here is our maintenance area. So every campground needs a good maintenance area. We accomplished that with a series of 4 shipping containers. So these shipping containers are all for different purposes. We have like housekeeping and linens, we have storage, we have tools. All of those give us a lot of great storage and also a dedicated area for us to receive shipments and have all the business side of Ferncrest out of there, along with our really old golf cart that is having some struggles, but we hope she'll get through this year. All of the water is well water. It's coming from 200 feet down in the ground. It's really fresh mountain water and super good for drinking as well. So this rock thing was just put around here. Might have to redesign that a little bit. Hits the rocks and splashes, but it looks really cool. Whenever you see litter, you pick it up because there's trash that comes from all sorts of places at a campground. This is the other renovated RV. This is the office trailer. So this is not for guests per se. This is where we're gonna have a desk and a computer and a printer in there. It's got air conditioning, it's got internet. It's a really cool little trailer. And this was one of the trailers that was on the property when we bought it, and then we did a full facelift to it and made it really nice. We've positioned all of the tents to be at the back of the campground. So although the original campground had all of these being actually guest campsites all the way up to essentially the road, the new campground focus is to make everything really centered on the forest in the back. It creates a lot of privacy. It also creates a really peaceful atmosphere. And it creates this dynamic between the things like the food trailers and the camp store and the playground as the common space, and then the private sort of lodging space is all along the back. The way that we have the campground organized is we have dome tents on the south side. So there's 6 dome tents over here. Then we have 9 crest tents, which are these safari style tents down the center row. And then we have 6 more dome tents down at the bottom of the campground. Those dome tents are brand new, and those are just getting operational for later this year. So we're working on those now, but they look amazing. And we have 21 total campsites now at Ferncrest, which creates a really nice, private and intimate, exclusive feel, but it's also enough for us to run a really successful, profitable Glampground at this 10-acre plot. We've used a bunch of privacy fencing around the campground to create a degree of privacy that you can get even though the campsites aren't miles apart. And the key with the feel of Ferncrest is it is a campground feel. And if you've ever been to a traditional campground, campsites are usually not spaced by that much. What we want at Ferncrest is to give a level of privacy, but also allow people to feel like they can come and camp with friends and family that they want to go with, but all have their own private spots. So the dome tents are a great example of that. They're all separated by about anywhere from 40 to 60 feet of spacing, but they all have these small little privacy fences, as well as private hot tubs, private fire pits, and a really good amount of space for them to have fun. You have kids out here, you can put hammocks on some of these trees. We're really excited about how this place is coming to life. Up at this upper portion of the campground, we have 3 double tents, which have 2 full beds in each, and then we have 3 king suites, which have king beds in each. They really serve a different purpose. The 2 double beds are great for friends coming out together, maybe young families, maybe multiple families have multiple tents all next to each other. And then the king suites are really great for couples coming out, whether or not they're younger, coming out for a romantic getaway, or they're older and just looking for a nice comfortable bed and they don't want to sleep in a RV or a traditional campsite anymore because old bones, you know? The double tent is a really nice balance of luxury and practicality. It gives a lot of space for sleeping, but it also has a wood-burning stove in it. It has a mini fridge, it has a microwave, it has a hot water kettle for making coffee in the morning. And all of the tents have these really beautiful large panoramic windows, which have curtains which can close and open, but it really gives you this amazing view into the outdoor world. We have instances where you wake up and you see deer outside and other wildlife. It's like a show, but it's way better than TV. This main road in the back is an absolutely gorgeous hill that goes down towards the other domes. This is where we have all of the Crest tents. So the Crest tents, they don't have electricity like the dome tents have, and they also don't have hot tubs, but they have a really different, amazing vibe that I personally really love because it has a much more traditional feel, but you get all the luxury of glamping because you have a beautiful mattress, you have the linens, you have a wood-fired stove in there, and you also have a battery bank that does provide electricity for you to charge your devices and charge your lanterns and things like that. So it's certainly glamping, but it is a different level of glamping than the dome tent, which has air conditioning, electricity. But the Crest tents, they have a lot of windows, and they also have this really gorgeous black aluminum structure that gives a really dynamic, really amazing feel. You can see how big these are just by me standing here. So they're really big tents, and we have either king suites, just like we have with the dome tents, but then unlike the domes, the double tents of the Crest tents have 2 queen beds, so there are bigger beds, which makes for even more space for families or friends. Now come with me and check out the back of the Crest tents because they're really nice still. A lot of the campground here is all based upon the existing campsites. So believe it or not, these are clearings and campsites that have existed for 50, 60 years. And you get a lot of character. You have like piles of rocks. This is also where you sometimes find trash that gets washed away by the winter snow. And then you find it and you're like, where did this come from? It's like 50-year-old trash. We are a very rocky campground, which does give a really nice dynamic and sort of a variation in landscape. So it's not like flat, and you have a lot of beautiful trees as well. We've had to manage a lot of these trees over the last couple years to make sure that nothing is really leaning or hanging over tents. So we've been really focused on that. But this is what I was talking about the old campground. So this was all like here when we got it. It's almost like, you know, being archaeologists, we see like this like patio essentially of this pathway of these rocks, which, you know, who knows who or when did that, but we've incorporated it into the layout of the campground now. One thing that we have in all the tents is we have a Arctic cooler, which is a really beautiful rugged cooler that people can add ice to and then store their drinks. We do have mini fridges, but a cooler is another great way to like take it out to your picnic table and enjoy it. We also have bare bones lanterns, bare bones enamel, as well as some really nice furniture. This is a little bit dirty right now because it hasn't been used for the season, but some really nice, beautiful bare bones outdoor furniture is part of the campground as well. Now, I'm not sure if you can guess, but what do you think the most common tree species in this entire campground is? All right, I'll give you the answer. Sugar maples. All of these trees around me here, 95% of them are sugar maple trees, which is what you make maple syrup out of. And I find that really exciting. It's already too late this year to tap them, but I definitely have visions of being able to tap these trees because not only would that be an amazing thing personally, but it would also be a really cool experience for guests to come and enjoy and do maybe in the wintertime, which is our plans as well. We want Ferncrest to be a year-round camping destination, which we can do with the dome tents because they're insulated. Can't do that with the Crest tents. They would shut down for the winter. Coming down to the bottom of the campground, this is where the newer developments have happened over the last couple months. Everything down here was where we had a lot of trash and junk in the previous season. So we had piles of garbage, we had old RVs down here. Ferncrest has been much more of a project than I think we even thought it would be. But the cool thing about it is it is 10 acres, so there's so many nooks and crannies that we can figure out new things to do. And that's exactly what we did with the wellness tent. There was this area down here that was really wet, and it's where all the runoff would go to. And we were originally going to put tents down here, and it became clear that maybe that wasn't the most practical use of it. So instead, we put a boardwalk out to it and made a tent that is going to have massage beds and be a place where you can go get a massage. And we're calling it the wellness tent. Still haven't figured out a perfect name for it, but it's really, really beautiful. So this is the Ferncrest wellness tent. It is a very beautiful, peaceful passageway out to a new tent structure that is going to be open to any guests that make a booking. And not only is it really beautiful, but it's really peaceful out there. You hear like water, you hear birds, and I don't know if there is a better place that I would want to get a massage than a tent out in the woods. That sounds a little bit creepy, but I mean it in a good way. That's unbelievable. I can't believe it's gone. I stuck my hand in this the other day Right down there, was just pumping water, just pumping. It was like a full-on stream. This is a new amenity at Ferncrest. It is our wood-fired sauna. So this is where you can actually go, not only have a sauna session, but you can make a fire, you can enjoy your time looking out into the woods. So this plus the wellness tent, it's all the part of the sort of the wellness activities at Ferncrest. We're working right now on sort of some inlaid stone structure. So we're gonna have to level this out with some stones and make this really nice over the next couple weeks. But this will be a really beautiful sort of entranceway to what is a pretty cool feature and amenity of Ferncrest. It's good for up to 6 people. I wouldn't really do 6 in here though. It's more of a 4-person sauna. It's not up and running yet. We still have some work to do. I think we have to finish off this chimney stack right here, but really it's starting to look like something. This is where you load the wood and then you bake for 15 minutes and come out feeling like a new man. Down next to the wood-fired sauna, we have another bathroom facility. So just like the other one, this was an original one from the 1960s. We already updated the septic tank last year. So this is up and running, ready to welcome guests as well. The last eyesore, but it's sort of cool looking, is these vintage RVs down at the far end of the campground, which haven't been renovated yet. We've given them all away and people are supposed to be picking them up over the next couple weeks. Hopefully these will be cleared out, but there is something actually pretty cool about them still, like having them here. It reminds me of the old campground that when we bought this, there was dozens of these structures all over the place. The last opportunity for expansion with Ferncrest is really this area here. We're thinking about putting in some larger dome structures, things that would be good for families, because these domes right now, the most people can fit in them is 4 people. And perhaps we can put in some here that are near the playground, so more family-centric, could sleep as many as 6. And as much as Ferncrest is great for adults because it's just a really peaceful camping experience, we also wanted to make sure that it's good for families. A lot of young families come here, so we have a really young kid appropriate play space, which includes these digger toys into this pea gravel, as well as the swing set and the little climbing structure and some tetherball. And then our newest addition is that bear. I just bought that bear. Larry down the road, he carved it and he brought it over, and it's a 10-foot black bear that is now towering over the playground, and I think people are really gonna love that. This pavilion structure was a kit, and it's cedar wood, so I mean, it smells amazing. So that is Ferncrest, and we are ready for our 2nd season. We did a lot of work over the last month to get it to this point. It's totally different than it was at this time last year. This time last year, it was just getting started when it comes to renovating it and taking down trees and cleaning up the property. It feels like a different world right now, and I'm so excited about it. We have put our heart and souls into this place, and we love sharing our story, and we hope you enjoyed.